So this is my plea to people to finally destroy the system and this messed up environment that we live in. Because I don't know about you guys, but I understand it, and it doesn't mean that I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, right? It works. It functions. But imagine having to know, once you understand all these things, you're like, wait, what the heck? That's kind of messed up. Like, why are people intentionally trying to affect me? Like, if you've ever felt that way, you're not wrong. It's literally how the world works. And there's forces that are trying to counteract and help you. But imagine being stuck in that. What if we don't do that anymore? So how do we avoid doing that? We stop engaging with the system. If we all collectively, no, not if, we will all, as humans, collectively all agree to stop engaging with the system starting tomorrow, Sunday, October 20th, 2024. 100%. We stop. You get a phone call, you don't pick up. You turn off your phone. They ask you to go somewhere, you don't go. Just stop engaging with the system. All events will cease to function. All events will no longer activate. That's it. It's over. The game is over. There is no more energy. Nothing is being spawned. Nothing is appearing. Nothing is materializing because no one's activating any events. So what happens then? The game has to change. The game must go on. The game must go on, right? So if the game has to go on, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to change it. They have to. They have to. They're like, they figured it out, guys. What are we going to do? They're going to change it. And once people realize that they have the power, they get to decide if it's activated or not. Things are going to change. It might not change for the better right away, right? Because people are going to have to learn new things. But now we all group up and we start just talking to each other like this. Think about like basically a forced pandemic. We do it by choice. We're all sheltering in place by choice. We're no longer doing it out of fear. We're doing it out of excitement, out of opportunity, out of possibility. What could we create? What miracles could we achieve? Remember, miracles are rewiring faulty programming to make something work again. So what if we were making all of us as a human race work again to be at our best state? That's what we're going to happen. That's what we're going to make happen. That is what is going to happen tomorrow. Stop activating events. Plan carefully which rooms you are in, which doors you leave open. And literally this leads to something that I was contemplating whether I was going to talk about it, but I'm going to say it because why not? We've got nothing to lose. Think about these spiritual influences, right? There's, I would say, people that puppet masters that can pull strings. Every person has like the light and the dark side with them, right? Doing the nudges, whispering, things of that nature. Some people might call them the masters, forces that be, whatever, names, labels, doesn't really matter. The point is, they are the ones that impact things, and then you are the one who executes it. You can still not listen to them. You're like, what the heck? Why is my head telling me to open the window? And yeah, absolutely not. And why is my head telling me to go to... No. And you didn't listen to either one, and that's fair, right? That's the power of free will. But they're still there, influencing. So if every single person has one, if every single animal, every single insect, every single being has one, if you're in the same room as other people, that means that their influences are now also influencing you. They can. Especially if theirs is, for some reason, I'm still trying to figure this out. And now if people have more information about this, please share. About how some people's can be stronger than others. Is it the connection we have with them? Is it the point being they can start impacting you? So if all of a sudden you're in a room and you say, wow, the energy feels really good in here, that's because there's a lot of people that have more, they're leaning more towards the light, and their light influences and nudges are just prevailing. That's why you feel that way. But if you're in a room and all of a sudden you enter and it's like, oh man, just like, why did this insecurity just pop up? Like, why do I feel anxious? Like, what the heck is going on? It's because even though you might have your dark one under control, their dark influences now is able to basically revitalize yours and give them energy. Like, here you go, buddy. And now your dark one is like reactivates. Think of it like that. Or basically think about it like they spawn, like if you like Harry Potter, like a Dementor, and now it's there. And it's like, whoa, look, we got fresh meat here. Like the person who created it, it doesn't matter. They want this new energy that is ripe, is all light. Once you start understanding that, that means that you can be affected by other people. So I call them game masters, GMs for people who've played like MMOs, massive multiplayer online games, where it's basically the game master can be spawned and they can help you or they can hurt you. Think of it as we each have a game master. And that's what I said, like just the nudges, the influence, but they can also make items appear, they can make events happen. If you're in the same room as other people, now there's two game masters in the room. So what if one game master like prefers to be good and light? He's like, well, I'm gonna make sure that they cook. And the other game master's like, hell no. Sorry. Heck no, I want them to order food, spend money, engage with the system. So they bombard them with ads and scents, and maybe they get a text from a friend saying, hey, dude, I just DoorDashed Thai food, you should check it out. So now all of a sudden you have conflicting interests because one game master wants one thing and the other game master wants the other. So who do you listen to, right? It's up to you. You don't have to do either one, but enough power of suggestion and noise, and you can literally do things that you didn't even want to do. So when we were talking about the realities in the castle and like the work being its own like event, and like the office, the boss's office being an event, your own apartment, like the building, like all those things, right? Think about it like if you're in the hallways of your apartment building, now you are participating in every game master from every person who now is in the outside in the hallways can now affect you. And that's no longer just you. While you're in your apartment, it's only just you. Now you go outside to the outside world, like literally you leave the apartment building or you leave your office. Now you're playing with the game masters of every single other person that's currently outside at that time. The part that I'm still uncertain about is the range, the physical proximity. This is something that I would love for people to test. I believe in stress testing things to see the push, the pull. I can affect things. My game master can affect things around me in this where I'm at. But like, is it reaching other states? Like, is it statewide? Is it citywide? Like, what's the range of like my bubble? I guess you could say like, think of like there's a light bubble around you, like you're holding a chalice, the chalice of hope. Is it like the strength of your light, of your good, or the strength of your dark? Like, is that how it works? I'm still trying to understand that and figure that out. But the range is something that I'm trying to decipher. So if anyone has information on that, please reach out to me. Let's communicate. Let's talk about it because I want to figure that part out. But range is interesting. So internet allows us to bypass the range, right? So posting on social media, live streaming, things of that nature, movies, releasing that to around the world, like creating an art form, that allows us to bypass physical limitations. So now all of a sudden, can our game master actually impact more people if we're live streaming, if we're posting on social media, than if it was just us in our physical proximity? So that's something to think about. Like when you go outside, you're literally making yourself vulnerable to a lot of good, but you're making yourself vulnerable to a lot of bad. And now my question to you is, why risk it? Like, why spend excessive time outside, leaving it open to chance? Like, remember, it's the bubblegum machine. Like, every vessel, like, even if it's 90% light and 10% dark, but that's your reality. You don't know everyone else's reality. So what if most of the other people are 50-50? If, let's say, there's 100 people out there, and only you are the 90 light and 10 dark, guess what? Just because now you're sharing it, the bubblegum machine now has all of their dark. There's so much more dark now than you would have had if you would have just gone out by yourself. But you can't control the outside world, right? Not to that extent. So think about that, guys. That's the problem about going outside excessively, is that you open yourself up to new nudges that you would never have had otherwise. It's scary to think about because, I don't know. Impact, right? I also believe that there is an overall entity. I call him the Dark One, the true villain behind all this, the designer of the current world. I believe that there was a light one and a dark one. Just like always, there always has to be a balance. And currently the Dark One is in control. Not for much longer, though. That's ending. That's ending literally as we speak. We're changing that. It's never going to be the same again. The Dark One's reign is ending as we speak, right now. Especially as people understand all this information. It's time. It's 100% time to make this world different. Once you understand that when you're outside, the Dark One can impact you as well. And it's not just anymore other people's game masters. Like, other people's game masters are nothing. Like, they're not scary. Once you start facing the big dragon, right? They're just a little iguana, a little lizard. Like, yeah, sure, they can do things, but but once you get to the point where you become a person of interest, now you have the eye of Sauron on you. And if you have the eye of Sauron on you, that's when it gets intense. Just like we were talking about earlier, mental attacks, they happen. And, for someone who has so much control and resistance to it, to be like literally like it's just nonstop barrages of, you're like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? And it's just, you're significantly more protected inside your castle, inside your room, inside the bathroom. Literally close the door. But it's even just having your dog in the same room as you exposes you to more attacks. It's just how it is, right? Like, so I'm still trying to figure out exactly how, but essentially it just seems like the Dark One can almost like reach you through other game masters. But outside, you're extremely vulnerable and open to everything. So protect yourself. Protect yourself. I want to talk about the concept of just saving your reality, your situation. I really just want you to think about that life is a game. Life is a game, right? There's people pulling strings, but there's people helping us. But it's reality. Like, I don't cause people to have an existential crisis here when I say this, but it's a game. And if you've ever played a video game, or just think about it like a project that you're working on, like a document or an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint presentation, every time you go to sleep, you hit save. Every time you go outside of your castle and you're in the outside world, it auto saves. So why do I say that? So let's say you sent a really mean message to someone, something that you regret, and it's gonna cause problems. If you don't go to sleep and you don't leave your castle, you have still a chance to correct it. But if you leave the castle and it auto saves, or if you go to sleep, that's that. It's saved. You can't take it back. And that's a hard one, because you can make a big mistake and there's no going back. It's okay though. Just, you gotta move on. Think about that one, guys. How could you use that to your benefit? You don't want something to change after you just did something good? Let's save really quick. So when you sleep, remember how we talked about the energy meter, your health, your stamina? There, it recharges. I would say that depending on how long you sleep and the quality of the sleep, it's a certain amount. So if we're at 0 to 100, right? It might be plus 50 when you sleep. So if you literally are at 20 because you're so drained from work and all the negative nudges, you're only going to be at 70. So you're literally starting the next day at 70 instead of 100, right? And now you're drained again. And so now you're at 10 when you came home the next day. Now you're only going to be at 60. You see, like, why the whole point is try to keep people trapped, try to keep people down, try to keep people stressed, try to keep people anxious, and then relying on things like alcohol and things of that nature to just get short bursts of energy. Like, that's why you could say that coffee is a hack, because it gives you temporary bursts, like maybe plus 5 energy, plus 5 energy, plus 5 energy, so that you can keep going a little longer. But anything temporary can be used against you, so be very careful. Let me actually just pause the recording right here just so that it saves.